The night I found out my fiancé was cheating, I didn't scream or cry or throw his things out the window. I smiled. My name is Victoria Hayes, and I live in Boston, Massachusetts. 30 years old, corporate lawyer, the kind of woman who plans everything down to the minute. For 4 years, I built a life with Daniel. We had a brownstone in Beacon Hill, a wedding planned for June, a future I'd designed with precision and care, but that cold February night, standing in our kitchen with his phone in my hand, reading messages to a woman named Ashley, I realized something terrifying. The man I loved didn't exist, he never had, and the pain of that realization didn't make me weak. It made me dangerous, because I wasn't going to confront him. I wasn't going to give him the satisfaction of my tears or my anger. I was going to take something far more valuable. I was going to take everything he thought was his, silently, methodically, without him ever seeing it coming. I put his phone back exactly where he'd left it. He was in the shower, humming some song, completely unaware that his entire world was about to collapse. I went to our bedroom, sat on the edge of our bed, and I started planning. Not revenge in the traditional sense, something colder, something that would hurt him in ways he'd never recover from. I wasn't going to destroy him with rage. I was going to erase him with silence. The messages told me everything. He'd been seeing Ashley for 8 months. She was a paralegal at a rival firm, 24, blonde, everything I apparently wasn't anymore. He'd taken her to hotels I'd recommended for us, bought her jewelry with our joint account, told her he was leaving me after the wedding to avoid the drama. He was using me, our relationship, our life, as a placeholder until something better came along. But here's what Daniel didn't know. I wasn't just any lawyer. I specialized in asset protection and family law. I knew every loophole, every legal maneuver, and over the next 3 months, I was going to use every single one. I didn't change my behavior, didn't give him a single clue. I woke up next to him every morning, kissed him goodbye, planned our wedding, smiled at dinner parties. But behind the scenes, I was dismantling everything. I started with our finances. The brownstone was in both our names, but I'd put down 80% of the down payment. I had receipts, documentation. I quietly consulted with a real estate attorney and started the legal groundwork to prove sole equity. I transferred my savings into an account he didn't know about. Slowly. Small amounts, nothing that would trigger alerts. Then I went after his career. Daniel was up for partner at his firm. It was all he talked about, his entire identity. I knew his boss, Richard, from networking events, respected him, so I reached out, professional, casual, asked if we could grab coffee to discuss a potential case collaboration. During that coffee, I mentioned carefully that I'd noticed some concerning financial irregularities in Daniel's expense reports. Nothing accusatory, just a concerned observation from one professional to another. I had copies, hotel charges that didn't match client meetings, personal purchases coded as business expenses. Richard's face changed. He thanked me, said he'd look into it. I canceled our wedding, told everyone it was mutual, that we'd grown apart, played the gracious, mature woman who wanted what was best for both of us. Daniel was relieved. He thought I was making it easy. He had no idea I was building a cage around him. I moved out, took only what was legally mine, which I'd made sure was almost everything. I rented a luxury apartment in Back Bay with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Charles River. Started working out, not for him, for me. I hired a stylist, updated my wardrobe, got a new haircut. I looked powerful, untouchable, and I felt it too. Then I waited, because I knew Daniel. I knew his patterns, his arrogance, his assumption that he'd always land on his feet. And I knew his world was about to implode. 2 weeks after I moved out, Richard called Daniel into his office. The expense report investigation had expanded. They'd found a pattern. Years of it. Daniel was fired. Not just fired. Reported to the state bar for ethics violations. His license was under review, his reputation destroyed, and he had no idea how it started. No idea I'd planted the first seed. Ashley left him 3 days later. Turns out she was only interested in Daniel the rising partner, not Daniel the unemployed lawyer under investigation. He called me 17 times that week. I didn't answer. I let him spiral, let him wonder, let him drown in the consequences of his own choices. Then came the real blow. The brownstone. My lawyer sent him the documentation. I owned 82% equity. He had 30 days to buy me out or I'd force a sale. He didn't have the money, couldn't get a loan without a job. The house sold in 3 weeks. I walked away with $400,000. He got $60,000 and nowhere to live. But I still wasn't done. Because Daniel had introduced me to all his friends, his family, his colleagues, and over the past 4 years, I'd built relationships with all of them, real ones. So when the news of his firing spread, when people asked what happened, I didn't badmouth him. I didn't have to. I just smiled sadly and said, I think Daniel's going through something. I hope he finds his way. Kind, concerned, classy, which made everyone else fill in the blanks, made them wonder what I knew, made them distance themselves from him. I took his social circle without saying a single negative word. 6 months after I found those messages, I was thriving, promoted to senior partner at my firm, living in luxury, dating a surgeon I'd met at a charity gala, happy, genuinely, deeply happy. Daniel was living in a studio apartment in Somerville, bartending, his law career over, his reputation ruined. Alone. He showed up at my office one day. Security called me, asked if I wanted him removed. I said no. I went downstairs. He looked broken, hollow. Victoria, please. I know what you did. I know you destroyed my life. I looked at him, calm, cold. Daniel, I didn't destroy anything. I just stopped protecting you from yourself. Every consequence you're facing is from your own choices, your own lies. I just made sure you actually faced them. His hands shook. I loved you. I smiled, not warmly. No, you loved what I provided. Stability, money, respectability. You loved the version of me that made your life easier, but you never loved me. And the moment I realized that, you stopped existing to me. I walked back inside, left him standing on the sidewalk, and I never looked back. That's the thing about silent revenge. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's surgical. You remove yourself from someone's life so completely, so thoroughly, that they realize too late you were the foundation everything else was built on. And when that foundation disappears, everything collapses. Daniel betrayed me, and I took everything without saying a word. Not because I'm cruel, but because I'm strategic. And sometimes the most powerful revenge is simply letting someone experience the natural consequences of losing you. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button, drop a comment, and tell me if you think I went too far or not far enough. Because at Venomous Revenge, we believe karma doesn't always need to be loud. Sometimes it just needs to be permanent.